All right, so today we're going full-on fanatic, diving deep into the world of a Collingwood diehard Swoop Luke.
Swoop Luke, yeah.
This guy,
He is living proof that Collingwood is more than just a team.
fresh off his AFL Superfan of the Year win.
Exactly right.
This bloke lives and breathes the pies.
And let me tell you, you won't find a more dedicated fan base anywhere.
He even runs his own independent media channel dedicated solely to Collingwood talk about commitment, right?
It's incredible, really.
Yeah.
He's like a one-man content machine, churning out Collingwood analysis 24/7.
And he's all in for a club that seems to be universally loved and loathed in equal measure.
Ah, yes, the Collingwood paradox.
Yeah.
They're the team you love to hate, or maybe hate to love. Depends who you ask.
Right, like they're the most supported club, but also everyone's favorite underdog to root against.
It's that us against the world mentality that Collingwood fans thrive on.
And after that fairy tale premiership win in 2023, I bet expectations were sky high for the 2024 season.
You bet they were. After a drought like that, the fans were hungry for another taste of glory.
So did they do it? Did they cruise to back-to-back premierships?
But not quite. The 2024 season was a bit of a reality check for Collingwood.
Ooh.
Turns out back-to-back flags are a Herculean feat, even for a team as storied as Collingwood.
So not the victory lap they were hoping for.
Not even close. They stumbled their way through the season, missed the finals, and the whispers of a premiership hangover started swirling.
Ouch. Yeah, that's got to sting for those passionate Pies supporters.
They definitely took the wind out of their sails. But that's the thing about Collingwood fans. Their loyalty runs deep.
Speaking of those diehard Pies fans, didn't Swoop Luke do a whole video about his Collingwood resolutions for 2024?
He did. He laid out his hopes and dreams for the Pies in 2024. And let me tell you, it's a fascinating glimpse into the mind of a fan who's seen it all.
So it's more than just your average fan wish list.
Oh, much more. It's a deep dive into the anxieties of a fan base grappling with the euphoria of a recent premiership and the uncertainty of a new season.
This sounds juicy. Okay, so he's not just passively cheering from the sidelines. He's laying down the law superfan style. What's the first decree from the Collingwood faithful?
All right, so resolution number 1 from the superfan himself, Swoop Luke, get our makeshift forward line firing.
Yeah, that's a big one.
It's got to be about losing Dan McStay, right?
Yeah.
It must have left a gaping hole in their attack. Absolutely. McStay's injury was a huge blow for Collingwood. But what's interesting here is how Swoop Luke frames it makeshift. It speaks to a deeper anxiety among Collingwood fans.
Go on.
After a premiership, the fear isn't just losing, it's losing that aura of invincibility.
Right, like suddenly they're not the invincible champs anymore.
Exactly. And piecing together a forward line starts to feel less like strategy and more like desperation.
It's like that fear of being found out. Like maybe 2023 was a fluke and now everyone can see the cracks.
Precisely. And that's where that word makeshift comes in.
Yeah.
Fans are smart. They see the team scrambling, trying different combinations, hoping something sticks.
Yeah, you can practically hear the collective groan of Pies fans every time a shot sails wide.
Oh, absolutely.
Speaking of groans, Swoop Luke's second resolution is all about saving those poor fan nerves. No more close wins. Tell me he's not the only one feeling that.
He is not alone. Collingwood fans have tasted that dominance now. They've had those convincing wins, and those nail-biters, while exciting, also reek of vulnerability.
Yeah, it's that classic saying, a win's a win, but those close ones, they take years off your life.
You're telling me I remember watching a Collingwood final with my old man a few years back. By the last quarter, he'd practically disappeared behind the sofa.
The tension was unreal.
Exactly. It's exhilarating, but it's exhausting. Swoop Luke's plea for decisive wins. I think it's a plea for that return to confident superiority.
Less stress for him, less stress for all the dads hiding behind furniture.
Exactly. All right, resolution number 3. This is where things get really interesting.
Hit me with it.
He says Collingwood needs to lessen the reliance on Scott Pendlebury.
Whoa, okay. Now hold on a second. We're talking about Pendles here. The man's practically royalty at Collingwood. What's the story there?
It's the classic dilemma of a club steeped in history. How do you honor your legends while embracing the future? Pendlebury is Collingwood through and through, but even the greats can't outrun Father Time forever.
Yeah, Swoop Luke's acknowledging that even Pendles can't carry the team single-handedly forever.
Exactly. And it's not easy for fans to accept that. It's that passing the torch moment, bittersweet for longtime supporters.
For sure. And I noticed Swoop Luke specifically mentioned Nick Dykos in his video. It's like he's already chosen his heir apparent.
It's the dawn of a new era. And speaking of big expectations, let's move on to Swoop Luke's final resolution for Collingwood in 2024.
All right, buckle up, because resolution number 4 is a big one. Win back-to-back premierships.
Whoa, boy. Talk about aiming high.
That's not just a resolution, it's a statement.
It's the ultimate dream for any Collingwood fan, especially after tasting that premiership glory.
They're not content with just one cubby. They want to be up there with the Collingwood legends.
Exactly. They want their names etched in history.
And it's been almost a century since Collingwood last achieved back-to-back premierships. Think about that. For a fan like Swoop Luke, someone who lives and breathes Collingwood history, it's more than just a trophy. It's about cementing their place in the AFL pantheon.
Absolutely. It's about silencing those whispers of fluke, proving that 2023 wasn't just a blip on the radar, but the start of a dynasty.
The pressure is real, but enough about resolutions. Let's hear from the fans themselves.
Let's hear it.
Swoop Luke grabbed some absolute pearlers of reactions from fans after that final game. What kind of emotions are we talking about here?
We're talking raw, unfiltered Collingwood passion. Think of it as a sonic tapestry woven from the cheers and jeers of the Pies faithful.
All right, hit me with some highlights. What were those diehard fans saying after that final siren?
Well, this one perfectly sums up the love-hate relationship Collingwood fans have with their team. One fan said with a heavy heart, "Look, as long as Carlton don't make it, we'll be happy."
It's that rivalry, eh? Sometimes your own team's success pales in comparison to the misery of your arch nemesis.
Tell me about it. But then you have this gem brimming with optimism. Nick Dyke goes for Brownlow.
There it is. The hope for the future rests on young Dyko's shoulders. It's like this fan's already looking past the disappointment of this season and pinning their hopes on the next generation.
And speaking of the young guns, this next one made me chuckle. One fan, practically bouncing with excitement, shouts, "Ed Allen and Will Parker,
What?
these kids are the future!" Off their tits, honestly.
You gotta love that raw enthusiasm. It's infectious. They're witnessing the birth of a new era at Collingwood, and they are here for it. But let's not forget those enduring truths of Collingwood fandom. Did we get any classics about beating Melbourne?
Oh, we did. You could practically hear the collective sigh of relief across Collingwood when they beat Melbourne that season. One fan summed it up perfectly. "We beat Melbourne. Who cares about them?"
Music to their ears, I bet. It's like that one win alone erases a whole season's worth of heartache.
Rivalry is a hell of a drug.
And to wrap things up with the Collingwood spirit, in a nutshell, did you catch any gems about that premiership hangover?
Oh, I did. One fan proudly proclaimed, "The best hangover is a premiership hangover."
Ain't that the truth? They're still riding that 2023 high. It speaks to the idea that some things are worth suffering for, even if it means a few fuzzy memories the next day.
It's a badge of honor, a reminder of that ultimate victory. And it shows just how deeply this team is woven into the lives of their fans.
It's been an incredible journey dissecting the hopes, dreams, and anxieties of a Collingwood fanatic. What a ride. So what's the takeaway here? What does Swoop Luke's deep dive into his beloved Pies tell us about the bond between a team and its fans?
It reminds us that sports fandom is about so much more than just wins and losses. It's about belonging, about shared history and future aspirations. It's about riding the emotional roller coaster, embracing the highs and lows, and finding solace in a community that understands your pain.
And in a city like Melbourne, where footy is practically a religion, that sense of belonging, that tribal connection is amplified tenfold. It's a way of life.
To all the Swoop Lukes out there, those passionate souls pouring their hearts and souls into their teams, this one's for you. Until next time, keep bleeding black and white or whatever colors you wear with pride.